swipe, swipe. In a world of swipe, swipe, instant gratification swipe, wouldn't it be nice to just step back from it all, unplug, slow right down and get back to basics? This video may be able to help. I'm talking about my favourite camera, and this is the ultimate anti-instant gratification. Let me tell you more about this camera, some alternatives, but mainly the mindset that you can then apply to your own camera, and then hopefully you can enjoy the same benefits as I do. Hello, welcome, Matt here from MrLeica.com. So if you saw my last video on chimping, this video is the ultimate anti-chimping video. Not only that, this camera is the perfect daily carry. Picture this: what if you could have a camera small enough to fit in your jacket pocket, light enough that you can't even feel that you're carrying a camera. It's so beautiful, you just can't help but pick it up and want to use it every day and show all your friends. It's so satisfying that it makes you want to just advance that shutter and hear that amazing shutter sound one more time. And so simple that you don't even need to worry about focusing or exposure. This is a full mechanical camera, no batteries, and it is fully serviceable even in 2023. Drum roll please. Today I bring you my favourite camera of 2023 and probably 2022. It is the 1931 Leica Standard. This is a very, very simple camera, and that's why it is so amazing. So what can I tell you about this amazing camera? I'm just going to cover the basics, and then I'm going to tell you more about how I use the camera, and then hopefully you can then apply the same mindset to the camera that you enjoy using. Very simple camera. This camera has no rangefinder. It has a fixed 50mm viewfinder. It takes interchangeable lenses. It has your shutter settings on the top and you advance your film on the right, rewind your film on the left. You load the film on the bottom, and there is no LCD display on the back of the camera, so no chimping is possible. We also have an additional accessory shoe in the centre, which is originally used for the rangefinder, but I use it for wide angle viewfinders. If you're interested in my full setup, I use a Peak Design anchor on the tripod mount and then a wrist strap, and then that gives me a really compact setup that just fits in the pocket. And the lens that I prefer using, of all the lenses I own and all the lenses I could choose from, for me the perfect lens for this camera is the Voigtlander Helios 40mm f2.8 LTM in black. Sadly I'd already bought it in silver, but at some point I may need to get one in black to match my beautiful camera. Why is the 40mm lens the perfect lens instead of, say, the small 5cm Elmar that comes with the camera? For me, the 40cm is better because it's optically more perfect, and that's the look that I like when shooting on film, because film brings its own imperfections, and so it gives a perfect balance of perfect yet imperfect. The 40mm composition can be estimated with a 50mm viewfinder if you bring your eye right to the viewfinder and just completely fill the frame with your photo. There's a little bit of space around the edge, so that always works really well for a decent 40mm composition. 40mm has got a greater depth of field in focus, which means if you're zone focusing, a 40mm lens is going to give you more depth, so it's easier to zone focus a wider lens than it is a, say, 50mm or longer lens. Sometimes I also use a 35mm Light Lens Lab f2 lens, which is even easier to scale focus, but then I need to use an additional 35mm viewfinder, which adds a bit to the size. Or if I use, say, a 28mm, 25mm, 21mm, again I'll need the additional wide angle viewfinder. So the 40mm is my favourite because I don't need any additional viewfinders, and it's going to give me, in my view, more perfect photos than with the original 5cm Elmar, and it's easier to zone focus. So what mindset do I use with this camera that you could then apply potentially to your own camera to hopefully enjoy the same setup? Number one, you need a camera that you really enjoy using, because it needs to make you want to take the camera out to take photos. So you might prefer a very small point and shoot cameras, maybe a Contax T2 or something nice like that. As long as it makes you want to go out and shoot, you're already, I think, halfway there. For me, using a camera with only one lens keeps everything very simple. Yes, I may use different lenses on different days, but on one particular day I'll use one lens. I will zone focus, that keeps it very easy. I'll shoot at, say, f11, and then pretty much everything's in focus from, say, 3 meters to infinity. So I'll just leave it at that setting, and when I see something interesting, I don't touch the focusing, I just bring it up to my eye, take the photo. So you could try that yourselves, zone focusing. I use Sunny 16 exposure metering, which means, as the name suggests, I estimate the exposure using the Sunny 16 rule. In very simple terms, Sunny 16 would be if you're shooting f16 with an ISO 100 film, you would shoot at 100th of a second. You don't really want to shoot at f16 because of diffraction and lower image quality, so I then shoot at either f8 or f11 and have a higher shutter speed, assuming it's still blue sky day, and if it's a grey day, I'll use a slower shutter speed or a wider aperture to give me the correct exposure. This camera is small enough to be my daily carry. I use it with a wrist strap if I'm walking, and if I'm, say, running or cycling, I take the wrist strap off to make it even smaller. I'll have it in a little plastic pouch or bag in my jersey pocket or on a belt if I'm running. It's got no rangefinder, so you can knock it as much as you want. No batteries, so it can't suddenly die when you're in the middle of nowhere. And it's amazing. I absolutely love it. Now I know what you're saying, like, Matt, you can't buy a 1931 Leica camera on MPB or eBay as easily as, say, an off-the-shelf brand new camera. The good news is you don't need this particular camera. There are some similar cameras that you can use in a very similar way, or you could just apply the same mindset to your own camera. So I think the closest alternatives to the Leica standard that I use would be things like the Leica I-F, the Leica I-C in particular, because they're very small, or the Leica I-G. The G is slightly bigger. The I-C, the I-F, the I-G all have no rangefinder and no viewfinder. So you will need to attach an auxiliary viewfinder onto the top of the camera rather than have one built in like this. The reason this was more perfect for me is because this is smaller than all additional auxiliary viewfinders, giving you a smaller, lighter setup than if you have a camera plus viewfinder, if that makes sense. So this is my number one choice. My second choice, as I say, would be the I-C or the I-F. I use both of them, and some of the photos shared in this video are shot with those cameras. Another alternative, if you don't want Leica, you can get the Voigtlander Bessa L. This is a bit of a plastic, fantastic camera, but it does come with a light meter. So the Bessa L again has no rangefinder, no viewfinder, but to all other extents you can shoot it the same as this, and with the bonus of it having a light meter if you're a bit worried about trying to guess Sunny 16, trying to get the correct exposure. As I say, you don't need a Leica. There are lots of good vintage film cameras which are zone focus only, or as I say, you can use a point and shoot. It's just whatever makes you want to go and take photos. So in summary, in a word of swipe, swipe, instant gratification, I think shooting film on a very basic camera is the perfect escape, and you actually have delayed gratification because obviously you've got to wait to finish the film, then you've got to go and develop the film, and then finally you get to reap the rewards of your efforts. If you enjoy the videos that I make, please do hit the like button, and as always, a huge thanks to my awesome patrons. To see more on the Leica I standard, you can watch this video next.